Hey Physique Freaks, how's it going? Scott Tuzana, MetabolicMasterpiece.com, here with another full week of eating update. This is 5 weeks into the cutting phase. I dropped another pound this week, brings a total to 11 pounds of weight loss in the first 5 weeks of this cutting phase. First week I dropped 3.5, 4 pounds. Following 3 weeks is about 2 pounds. I knew that it was getting to a point with the level of leanness that I've attained up to now that 2 pounds is probably just a little bit too aggressive, and I wanted to dial it back a little bit and bump up my calories. Ended up bumping them up just a little bit too much. Ideally, I probably would have preferred to be around 1.5 pounds of weight loss this week. So learned my lesson, and I'm going to share some insights into every meal that I ate this week and what I will be improving this upcoming week. And we're going to kick things off with Sunday, January 29th. Where I began my day delaying breakfast a bit, didn't have my first meal until early afternoon. It was the typical pre-workout shake that I have, so 1 cup of kefir, 1 scoop of protein powder, spinach, and mixed berries. Went and hit legs after that. So the reason I delayed breakfast, I still wasn't feeling very hungry. I had the big refeed Friday night, and I just want to kind of keep things in check. Also knowing that I was going to have a big dinner, a big post-workout meal, which was shepherd's pie. So we got some lean ground beef in here, some mashed potatoes that we mashed up with a little bit of 2% milk and some Becel butter, margarine, and there's some cream corn in there as well. Later on in the evening, had 1/2 cup of pistachios, and that brought the total calories to about 1,800. That has been my sweet spot throughout here. I've been kind of sitting around that, sometimes a little lower, sometimes a little higher, but on average, 1,700 to 1,800 has allowed me to drop about 2 pounds per week. So my goal here on out, moving forward, this upcoming week is going to be to aim for around the 1,900 calories, anywhere between 18 and 2,000 calories. So let's move on to the next day. So now Monday, January 30th, kicked off my day with 8 egg whites, an extra large egg, some mixed veggies, fried that up in a little bit of coconut oil, and topped it off with some ketchup. Pre-workout, I had the usual shake, 1 cup of kefir, scoop of protein powder, spinach, mixed berries, and post-workout had some leftover shepherd's pie from the night before, and later on in the evening had some Skinny Pop popcorn. That brought the total calories to about 2,000, 2,100, a little higher than I wanted for this day. Probably could have did without the Skinny Pop popcorn. I don't know, it was there, I ate it, and in my mindset I was thinking, yeah, my fat loss has been a little bit too aggressive lately. I can justify this popcorn here. So I probably shouldn't have had that. Should have just dealt with that hunger, embraced a little bit of hunger, and moved on and just went to bed. Tuesday, January 31st, started the day with a pre-workout shake, the 1 cup of kefir, 1 scoop of protein powder, some spinach, and mixed berries. Post-workout was 175 grams of plain Greek yogurt, scoop of protein powder, and 140 grams of mixed berries. Had a little snack before dinner, a 1/4 cup of pistachios. Dinner was 1 tilapia loin with some seasonings and spicy mustard on top, so baked that in the oven. Along with that, I fried up some peppers, so that's about 1.5 yellow-orange peppers there. Some onions, and made some homemade fries, so yellow potato fries that just lightly greased the frying pan and with extra virgin olive oil. Topped those with some ketchup. Later on, it was kind of later on in the day when it's getting close to bedtime, and I knew my calories were pretty low. I knew I was going to need something before bed. I think my calories were sitting around 1,400. I was like, I don't want them to be that low, so I knew I was going to be looking for a snack. And sure enough, Angie had actually, she went to the gym after dinner, was talking with one of the desk staff there about what they love to snacks that they love to make with that involve peanut butter. So she ended up coming home and making energy bites, which are peanut butter, oats, flaxseed. I know there's chocolate chips in there, and some honey. So these things are absolutely delicious, and my plan was just to have about 2, maybe 3. They're roughly about 100 calories each. I ended up popping about 4, at least 4 of them that night, and that brought my total calories to about 2,000 to 2,100 at the end of the day, which is, again, a little higher than I would have preferred. Again, aiming for 1,800 to 2,000 calories would have been great, but ended up hitting 2,000 to 2,100. So kind of seeing the trend here, but why I only lost 1 pound this week instead of 1.5 pounds, which I was really hoping to achieve. Wednesday, February 1st, once again, beginning the day with a pre-workout shake, the 1 cup of kefir, 1 scoop of protein powder, spinach, and mixed berries. Post-workout was 1 scoop of protein powder along with 6 of those energy balls. And then for dinner, we had delicious pork tenderloin roast that was cooked in the crock pot. There's a nice little glaze that we put on in the last hour that had, I don't know, this brown sugar, cornstarch, I think balsamic vinegar. I think there's some soy sauce in there as well. Absolutely delicious, and had that along with some homemade fries. Once again, just yellow potatoes, lightly greasing the pan with some extra virgin olive oil, topping that off with a bit of ketchup and some mixed veggies on the side. Later on that evening, had some veggie straws, nice little snack, really kind of craving a little bit of a crunch there. But once again, didn't really need them. I was feeling just a little bit of hunger. I should have embraced the hunger, and instead I had those veggie straws, and that put me over the target that I wanted to aim for, and this time I was between 2100 and 2200. So to give you an idea, my maintenance level calories is right around 2450, 2500. Again, maintenance level calories it's a moving target, but I know I could have did better, is what it is, and again, learning my lesson and carrying forward for the following week. Thursday, February 2nd, once again, starting the day with a pre-workout shake, 1 cup of kefir, 1 scoop of protein powder, spinach, and mixed berries. Post-workout, had 2 tilapia loins that were baked in the oven, coated with a little bit of becel, and topped off with some Vector cereal. Absolutely delicious. Nice little post-workout treat. And then later on, dinner was leftovers, so the pork tenderloin roast along with some mixed veggies. A snack that I had earlier in the day was a slice of Amish friendship bread. This was a huge victory for me. Normally I would crush this entire loaf with it, which is pretty high in calories. I think a thin slice there, 1/9 of the loaf is about 230 calories, something along that line. So huge victory for me to just have a thin slice. It's actually, we made 2 of these loaves and I only had 1 thin slice out of the entire thing. The good news is that with this, you keep making more and more. So I know I'll be having a little bit more in this following week. Total calories for this day were around 1600, so on the low end. So as you can kind of see, I was catching myself. It's getting towards the end of the week and I knew my calories had been a little bit higher, and it took me a little while to get my, after Friday night when I had the refeed, gained 3 pounds, and it took up until Wednesday morning for me to kind of get back to the weight that I was at on Friday morning for my last physique update. It's like, man, I got to, between Wednesday and Thursday, I've got to make sure that I stay on point here and keep my calories in check in order to make some progress by the end of the week here. So 1600 was just keeping things in check and gearing up for the big weigh-in on Friday. So Friday, February 3rd, the day of the weigh-in, physique update, and woke up down a pound. Part of that definitely has to do with food volume. So 1600 calories, a little less food in my system. So that definitely contributes to the overall weight loss. Ended up delaying breakfast that day, knowing that I'm going out with the guys. Friday night is usually my refeed day where I'll treat myself a little bit. So I knew I wanted to kind of delay breakfast. We weren't training, weren't working out until about 2:30 in the afternoon. So it was probably around 1 o'clock when I had my first meal, which was the pre-workout shake, the 1 cup of kefir, 1 scoop of protein powder, spinach, and mixed berries. Post-workout, Angie made some delicious enchiladas, 3 little whole wheat wraps with some chicken in there. I think there's some cream cheese, salsa, topped it off with some more salsa and some cheddar cheese. So calories still at this point were well within reason and gave me lots of room to play around with. Usually on the refeed day, I like to bump things up to right around maintenance, but last week was the first time where I crept up above maintenance, and I really was hoping not to do that again, but it ended up happening here. So out with the guys playing darts, and I was going to have a drink there. I knew I was going to be having a few drinks, a few Rye and Cokes, Pepsi Max, I should say, is what I'm using. So kicked off with, that's just a little bottle of Kraken, those tiny little like hotel bottles that you get there. So I had that along with the Pepsi Max, and then I had about 3 more drinks where I had the Gibson's Rye and had that with the Pepsi Max as well. I did really good for most of the night, kind of steering clear of the food. There's lots of goodies out there, flaming cheese, some little hors d'oeuvres type things, and some pepperonis and cheese and all that kind of good stuff. And there's probably, I did really well, just tiny picking here and there throughout the night, really keeping calories within check. This is the first time I've had any alcohol since New Year's Eve, so it's like 5 weeks without having any kind of alcohol. And now I know why I don't drink all that much when I'm cutting, because after a few drinks you kind of lose your inhibitions, and ended up going for 2 flaming cheese in more whole wheat wraps. There's a whole bunch of carbs here at night, and some of the hors d'oeuvres and more of the pepperonis and cheese, and definitely a surplus. Who knows how big of a surplus? I don't know, but definitely the next morning weighed in, being 3 pounds heavier, which was the same as the previous week. So all in all, I mean, no guilt. I didn't have any kind of guilt from this. Definitely no guilt from the drinking. I really felt like letting loose at night. I was due. I felt like I was due to just kind of relax and have a couple of drinks, have some little extra fun there. Probably should have kept my food in check a little bit more, but it is what it is, and I knew I could definitely. I think it kind of set the tone for this upcoming week. It's like I got it out of my system, and I totally feel like switching gears and getting like crazy freaking serious again here. So, going to be an exciting week to come here, learning from this and carrying forward. And then finally, Saturday, February 4th, started the day with a pre-workout shake. Once again, delaying breakfast. We trained at 1:30 in the afternoon, so I believe I had the shake right around noon. Again, just not feeling hungry from the previous night's kind of pig out, big cheat day. But I knew I didn't want to. I made the mistake the previous week, Saturday. If you follow that video, the previous full week of eating, on the Saturday, I delayed my first meal until like 3 in the afternoon and ended up just losing all control. I realized, oh my God, I am hungry. And while I was making that meal, I ended up picking out a whole bunch of stuff. So I knew I didn't want that to happen again. So listened to my body. I was starting to feel just a tiny bit of hunger right around noon. So I got perfect timing to have the shake, which once again, the 1 cup of kefir, 1 scoop of protein powder, spinach, and mixed berries. Post-workout, we still had a little bit of leftover pork tenderloin, so it worked out perfect. There's 5 ounces there. Put some spicy mustard on top, and a new dinner was right around the corner. I think we ate an hour later, and there would be some carbs with that. So I didn't. Normally, I like to have some carbs along with the protein post-workout, but I figured I'll just delay that part, just get this protein in me right away, and then wait for dinner, which was absolutely delicious. A chicken chili that was cooking in the crock pot all day long. So about 8 ounces of chicken in here, along with I think some chickpeas, kidney beans, corn, diced tomatoes, all that good stuff, and then a spinach salad that was absolutely delicious as well. Later on, watched a movie and had some veggie straws. A nice little snack, and didn't feel too bad about having that, because that brought my total calories up to about 17 to 1800 calories. So right within target, right back on track, and this is really going to set the stage for an incredible week coming up. Thank you for, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you kind of learned a little bit from the insights and sharing the food journal out here. Again, I appreciate the support, appreciate the encouragement, appreciate the accountability. It really, these videos definitely help keep me in check. So appreciate you big time. Look forward to sharing the next week of meals with you next week.